Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to put on our consultant hats and think like the pros. We're going to crack open a classic business case, the Jamaican battery enterprise, and break down exactly how you tackle a massive problem, step by step, to find a winning strategy.
So here's the big question we need to answer. Our client, the Jamaican battery enterprise, wants to get into the Cuban market. The problem? It's not just competitive, it's a fortress. It's totally locked down by a monopoly that's backed by the government. I mean, that's pretty much the ultimate barrier to entry.
Now, to solve this, we're not just going to talk about strategy. We're going to use the exact framework that top consulting firms use to find the sharpest minds out there, the case interview. It's basically a role-playing exercise designed to see how you think under pressure. So let's step into that role together and see if we can solve this thing.
All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to break this down using a structured approach, what consultants call MEES, right? Mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, just to make sure we don't miss anything. First, we'll figure out the challenge. Second, we'll size up the opportunity, see if it's even worth it. Then comes a fun twist. We're going to switch sides and advise the competition. From there, we'll revise our own plan, and that will lead us to our final big move.
Okay, first things first. Let's get the lay of the land. Our client is a successful company, but they're staring down a market that just looks impossible to get into. It's dominated by one player with the full support of the government.
So here are the facts. Our client is the Jamaican Battery Enterprise, JBE. They're targeting Cuba's car battery market, which is 100% controlled by the state-owned Cuban Battery Enterprise, or CBE. And the reason they have this monopoly is a huge 50% tariff on any imports. It's just impossible to compete. But, and this is the game changer, that tariff is about to drop by 5% every single year until it's gone. And that's the opening JBE sees.
You know, the first thing any good consultant does is ask, is the prize even worth winning? So the board at JBE has a simple question. How big is this market really? We need to do a quick back-of-the-envelope calculation to see what kind of money we're talking about.
Okay, since we don't have perfect data, we have to build a logical model from some reasonable assumptions. So we'll start with the population, figure out the number of households, then cars. We'll add in commercial vehicles, but we have to subtract out any military or government vehicles we can't sell to. Now, the final piece of the puzzle is critical. Notice this, the local batteries only last for 3 years. That's a classic sign of an inefficient monopoly, right? They have no reason to make a better product. That short lifespan actually means more batteries are sold each year.
All right, let's run the numbers. We've got 10 million people. Let's say 5 people per household. That gives us 2 million households. If 1 in 10 owns a car, that's 200,000 cars. To that, we add another 10,000 commercial vehicles, but then subtract the 5,000 we can't sell to, giving us a total of 205,000 vehicles. Now here's the key part. If each one needs a new battery every 3 years, we just divide that 205,000 by 3, and that gives us a total market of roughly 68,000 batteries a year.
Okay, now let's talk cost. This is where it gets really interesting. JBE is actually way more efficient. Their production cost is only $9, thanks to better tech, lower labor costs, whatever. But CBE's cost is a bloated $12. But here's the initial problem. You add $1 for shipping, then that initial $5 tariff, which is 50% of their $10 production and shipping cost, and bam! JBE's total cost to get a battery into Cuba is $15. They just can't compete on price, at least not yet.
This table basically lays out JBE's timeline, their strategic path to get in. As that tariff drops, so does their cost. You can see in year 1, they're $3 too expensive, total non-starter. By year 5, the gap is only 50 cents, so we're getting warmer. But the magic number is year 6. That's when the tariff hits 20% and their landed cost is exactly the same as CBE's, $12. That's the first moment they can even think about competing on price.
So the answer seems simple, right? Just wait till you're 6 and go for it. But a great consultant knows the competition isn't just going to sit there and let you attack. They're going to react. They're going to adapt. And this is where the real strategy kicks in. You can't just look at the board as it is today. You have to think 5 moves ahead.
And there it is, the classic case interview twist. The interviewer asks you to switch hats. See, to find the best strategy for your client, you have to first figure out the best defense for their competitor. By thinking from the other side of the table, you spot all the weaknesses in your own plan you might have missed.
So let's do it. We are now working for the Cuban Battery Enterprise. Our one and only goal, protect our monopoly at all costs. How do we turn our lazy, inefficient company into an absolute beast? Okay, first we try to lobby the government, but no dice. The tariff reduction is happening, so we pivot.
We attack our own weaknesses before JBE can. We upgrade our tech to match their $9 cost. Boom, their cost advantage is gone. We improve our battery quality so it also lasts 5 years. Boom, their product advantage is gone. We launch a big marketing campaign talking about our new and improved local battery. And then, here come the killer moves. We use our government ties to sign exclusive deals with every single gas station, and we partner with the state tire company to build our own network of service centers.
And this right here is the critical shift. The entire game has changed. Before, CBE was this lazy monopoly protected by a tariff. But now, by getting ready for a fight, they've become a lean, mean competitor, and they've built a totally new barrier to entry. They control every single place you could possibly sell a battery. The wall around their castle is no longer made of government taxes, it's made of strategic contracts.
Okay, hats back on. We're advising JBE again. And our original plan to just waltz in during year 6, it's completely useless now. We'd enter a market where the competition matches us on cost and quality, but we have zero way to actually reach customers. Our batteries would just sit in a warehouse. We have to go straight back to the drawing board.
Let's look at our options again, using that structured MEC approach. Option 1, build. We could build our own stores from scratch, but the cost for that would be massive, and it just doesn't make sense for our initial sales goal of about 17,000 batteries. Option 2, buy. We could just buy a local company and get their distribution. But who's the only company to buy? CBE. And thanks to our advice, they're no longer a cheap mess, they're our biggest rival. So that leaves option 3 as really the only viable path. Partner.
So, after all this deep analysis, after sizing the market, after wargaming the competition, the final recommendation boils down to a single, crucial insight that changes how we look at the whole problem.
You see, the problem was never really about the tariff. The tariff was just a temporary hurdle, a symptom of the monopoly. The real, permanent challenge, the thing that will decide if we win or lose, is distribution. It's all about getting to the customer. By locking up every gas station, CBE built a new wall that's way stronger than any government tariff ever was.
And that leads us to the final, elegant recommendation for JBE. If you can't beat them and you can't join them, you have to find an ally. Since CBE partnered with the state tire company to block access, JBE's move is clear. Form an alliance with another powerful company that's also locked out, like maybe a foreign tire company. By partnering up, they can split the huge cost of building new distribution channels together, and they can create a one-stop shop for the Cuban consumer, tires and batteries. And that's the ultimate lesson from this case. Sometimes the best way to break down a wall isn't to run through it, but to find someone else to help you build a door.